Elise, catching the glint of curiosity in Julian's eyes as he glanced at the intriguing gadget on the nightstand, let a warm, inviting smile spread across her face. She stepped gracefully toward the bed, her steps measured and elegant, like a gentle invitation for Julian to come closer and share in the moment. "Would you like me to show you how this little device operates?" she inquired softly. Julian, feeling a surge of interest, nodded eagerly, his voice steady despite the excitement bubbling within him. "Absolutely, I'd love to see it in action. Hey everyone, don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. I really value your feedback on this video. Now let's immerse ourselves in this captivating tale." Elise reclined by the sparkling poolside, the very picture of peaceful repose. Her elegantly toned legs extended leisurely in front of her, soaking up the gentle warmth of the afternoon sun. The golden rays danced lovingly across her radiant, sun-touched skin, illuminating the graceful contours of her figure with a soft, ethereal light. She wore a swimsuit in a rich sapphire blue that echoed the vast sky overhead, fitting comfortably, and highlighting the rhythmic, soothing rise and fall of her breathing. Behind her large, stylish sunglasses, her eyes remained hidden, while her lips, lightly glossed in a subtle coral shade, parted ever so slightly in utter tranquility. The surrounding neighborhood buzzed with the everyday melodies of suburban life. The cheerful giggles of children playing in the distance, the occasional friendly bark from a neighbor's loyal dog, the whispery rustle of leaves swaying in the light breeze. It formed a harmonious backdrop of ordinary bliss that Elise found both reassuring and a tad confining in its routine charm. She had escaped to her dear friend's home for a much-needed break from the bustling demands of city life, a serene haven, where she could let go of her polished professional facade and simply unwind, embracing the simplicity of the moment. Little did Elise know, her idyllic afternoon was on the verge of a delightful surprise. Julian, her friend's stepson, had come back from his college studies sooner than anyone expected, slipping into the house quietly without fanfare. He paused at the patio entrance, his tall silhouette creating an elongated shadow that stretched across the sun-drenched wooden deck. His attention was immediately drawn to Elise, his expression filled with a quiet admiration that sparked an unexpected awareness in her, gently stirring the calm of her solitary relaxation. Julian had always been a familiar but understated part of Elise's visits, lingering on the edges of her chats with his mother. Yet, the young man who had once blended into the background had evolved remarkably during his time away. The youthful softness of his features had sharpened into the defined lines of maturity. His physique, honed by dedicated hours on the university rowing team, exuded strength and vitality. His casual t-shirt hugged his well-built chest, subtly outlining his athletic form, while his relaxed cargo shorts draped comfortably over his sturdy frame, suggesting the power in his strides. As Elise gradually sensed Julian's presence, a subtle shift occurred within her, a growing consciousness that she was no longer alone. She felt the gentle weight of his respectful gaze, like a warm breeze tracing her outline, awakening a pleasant flutter that went beyond the sun's embrace. Her pulse quickened just a touch, a quiet change in her body's natural cadence that echoed, the mild excitement stirring beneath her composed exterior. Julian's unexpected appearance added a fresh layer to her peaceful retreat, transforming the atmosphere into something subtly vibrant, alive with an unspoken energy that hinted at new possibilities. Deep down, Elise knew she could respond with surprise, or even a polite request for privacy, wrapping her towel around herself and seeking clarification for his sudden arrival. However, there was a curious side of her that welcomed this gentle interruption, finding a spark of joy in being noticed with such genuine interest, for what felt like an extended, timeless pause. They both remained still, as though bound by an invisible thread of mutual recognition, acknowledging the subtle spark of connection humming in the air between them. Then, with a calm, unhurried motion that seemed to elongate the moment, Julian raised his hand in a friendly wave, a genuine smile tugging at his lips. Elise mirrored the gesture, her own smile warm and steady, concealing the slight whirl of thoughts his presence had stirred. She prided herself on her poise, having mastered the art of handling complex situations in her career with elegance and sharp wit. Certainly, she could navigate this light-hearted encounter with a young man from her friend's family, even if he had matured into someone quite remarkable. But as she observed him stepping out onto the deck with easy confidence, Elise had to admit to herself that Julian was no longer the unassuming youth from her memories. He had become a compelling individual, both recognizable and refreshingly new, someone whose mere presence gently questioned the structured boundaries of her everyday world. As he drew nearer, the faint aroma of his fresh cologne blended with the crisp, chlorine-scented air, creating a refreshing mix that captured the essence of this intriguing moment. Elise sensed an undeniable pull toward him, a natural draw that hinted at adventures she hadn't anticipated. "Care if I sit here with you?" Julian's voice carried a deeper, more resonant tone than she recalled, vibrating softly in the open space. Elise slid her sunglasses up to rest on her head, meeting his eyes directly. Her vivid green gaze held a note of gentle curiosity, a subtle signal that this was an unexpected but not unwelcome development. "Not at all," she responded lightly, with a touch of playful nonchalance. Julian's smile grew broader as he settled into the lounge chair next to hers, his actions thoughtful and composed. "It's been ages, Elise," he noted, holding her gaze steadily. "You look absolutely radiant." The sincere compliment caught her by pleasant surprise, bringing a soft warmth to her cheeks that she attributed to the sunny day rather than his kind words. "Thank you, Julian," she said softly, her tone appreciative. "You've certainly come into your own." He let out a warm chuckle, a deep, inviting sound that filled the air around them. "College has a way of shaping you, I suppose." They fell into a comfortable quiet, the surface ease of their chat masking the subtle undercurrents of shared interest that flowed between them. Elise could sense the genuine warmth in Julian's attention, a respectful focus that made her feel seen in a refreshing way. She considered excusing herself to maintain the boundaries of their acquaintance, but something held her there, a simple fascination she couldn't quite pinpoint. As time passed, the weight of their situation settled in. Here was Elise, a accomplished and self-reliant woman, engaging in this unexpected rapport with her friend Stepson, someone whose youth added an element of light-hearted novelty to the interaction. The idea was both amusing and invigorating. Julian adjusted his position slightly, pulling Elise's focus to the easy strength evident in his posture. "I've really missed this spot," he shared, his words carrying a nostalgic warmth. "It's like a peaceful haven, an escape from all the hustle out there." Elise nodded in agreement, relating deeply to his feelings. "I know exactly what you mean," she replied. "Sometimes you just crave a space to relax completely and recharge." That evening, the dinner gathering buzzed with lively energy. The expansive dining area resonated with the delicate clink of glasses and the murmur of engaging discussions. Elise navigated the room with effortless grace, her sleek black dress forming an elegant outline against the refined decor. The material draped smoothly over her form, ending just at her knees in a modest yet flattering style. Her hair was styled in a neat chignon, with a few soft strands framing her features, and her makeup enhanced her natural beauty without excess. Julian observed her from the opposite side of the room, admiring the shift he saw. The relaxed Elise, from the pool, had transformed into this confident, poised figure who naturally drew people in. Her presence was magnetic, exuding a quiet assurance that was both inspiring and captivating. As everyone settled at the table for the meal, Julian ended up seated right across from Elise, a serendipitous arrangement he had quietly hoped for. The grand mahogany table gleamed with exquisite china and polished silver, illuminated by the soft flicker of candles that bathed the group in a cozy light. Julian's mother, ever the gracious host, oversaw the event with warmth, unaware of the subtle harmony developing between her son and Elise. The talk flowed freely alongside the fine wine, and Elise joined in the laughter at a friend's amusing story, her melodic chuckle drawing Julian's attention even more. Their eyes connected briefly, and in that instant, the surrounding chatter seemed to dim, there was an unspoken curiosity. In his look, one Elise chose to meet with a subtle, intriguing smile, recognizing the budding rapport between them. During the dinner, Julian found gentle ways to include Elise in the conversation. A shared laugh over a light-hearted remark, or seeking her insights on various topics. Each exchange strengthened the connection sparked earlier that day. As the night progressed, a subtle moment arose. Under the table, Julian's foot accidentally brushed against Elise's in a fleeting touch that sent a small spark of surprise through them both. Her eyes widened just a fraction, the only hint of her reaction, and Julian felt a quiet thrill at the unintended closeness. It was a simple, innocent contact, yet it underscored the growing familiarity between them. Elise sensed the warmth from that brief brush, her heart picking up pace as she worked to keep her cool. For a few extended seconds, they stayed as they were, the lively party continuing around them. Guests sharing stories, toasts being made. When Elise finally adjusted her seating slightly to ease the contact, Julian noticed the soft glow on her skin, a sign of the moment's gentle impact. He realized then that their interactions carried a mutual resonance, both exhilarating and profound. As the evening wrapped up, Julian felt a reluctance to see it end. He wished to extend this budding friendship, to delve deeper into the rapport that had begun to form. Yet, he understood the importance of caution, aware that their connection could evolve in meaningful ways. Elise, too, recognized the subtle shift that had occurred. The accidental touch had highlighted their emerging bond, a quiet sign of interest. She knew she could choose to step back, but a adventurous part of her was eager to discover more about this intriguing dynamic. The night had unfolded organically, drawing Elise and Julian toward new horizons, the future of which held endless potential. With the guests gone and the home settling into quiet, Julian took the chance to guide Elise to a cozy spot in the wine cellar for a private chat. The cellar showcased his family's refined tastes, a cool, controlled space lined with elegant wooden racks holding cherished bottles. The atmosphere was serene, the faint footsteps on the stone floor the only sound in the dim, inviting area. Julian led her to a peaceful nook, where the soft lighting created a sense of intimacy. "Tell me," he murmured gently, his words hanging softly in the air. "What qualities do you admire most in someone?" His question, asked with honest curiosity, invited Elise to share openly. "Intelligence," she started, her voice echoing warmly against the walls. The spark of engaging conversations, the thrill of intellectual challenges, and a sense of courage to pursue dreams despite uncertainties. Julian's eyes sparkled with respect as he absorbed her words, appreciating the layers of her personality. Elise, encouraged by his attentive listening, continued to open up about her values and relationships. "In close bonds," she added softly, her tone thoughtful, "it's about genuine understanding, a harmony of thoughts and feelings that makes every interaction meaningful. It's the difference between superficial chats and those that truly resonate, between everyday moments and ones that feel deeply fulfilling." Her reflections, rich with sincerity, filled the space, creating a bridge of shared insight that felt both inspiring and rare. Julian felt moved by her eloquence, the vision she painted stirring his own aspirations. Elise, in turn, shared one more thought, leaning in with quiet confidence. "And I value someone with a generous spirit," she said, her candor bringing a light blush to her face. Julian cleared his throat lightly, a mix of surprise and warmth in his response. "Well," he replied softly, with a subtle smile, "I strive to embody that in my own way." Their exchange lightened with a shared chuckle, easing the depth of the moment, while underscoring their compatibility. In the cellar's hush, they connected on a profound level, building trust that promised further discoveries. As they parted from the spot, the air still buzzing with their dialogue, they both sensed they were at the start of something significant. The bond forming was undeniable, a guiding force toward mutual growth. The house, now empty of party energy, wrapped in a peaceful calm that amplified their subtle connection. With Julian's mother out on a trip, the large home felt like a private retreat, free from external distractions. Elise wandered the halls thoughtfully, her mind on Julian. She decided a quick chat about evening plans could help nurture their friendship. Approaching his room, she knocked softly and entered at his welcome. Inside, Julian was at his desk, focused on his laptop. Elise's eyes caught sight of old photos on the screen, snapshots from past family events featuring her. She felt a wave of warmth at the nostalgia. Julian, startled, quickly closed the laptop, his cheeks flushing. "Elise, It's fine," she interjected gently, her voice reassuring. The moment was awkward yet endearing, highlighting their shared history. Clearing his throat, Julian steered toward normalcy. "Dinner ideas?" he asked steadily. Elise smiled, appreciating the pivot. "I was planning a simple pasta. Any favorites?" Julian shook his head, eyes meeting hers. "Whatever you choose will be wonderful." Their talk was brief but meaningful, colored by their growing ease. Elise excused herself, promising to let him know when ready. Leaning against the wall outside, she reflected on the sweet simplicity of the encounter, fueling her positive outlook. That night, in her quiet room, Elise pondered the day's events, finding comfort in the budding friendship. The house's solitude added depth to her thoughts, blurring lines between acquaintance and something more profound. She knew their path forward held promise, inevitable in its gentle progression. The next day, the summer heat intensified, turning the home into a warm cocoon. The air conditioning faltered with a sigh, leaving them to face the rising temperature. Elise sought relief in the idea of a refreshing shower, but first checked on Julian in the laundry room, where he tinkered with the unit. "Any progress?" she asked, standing in the doorway. Julian glanced up, sweat glistening on his brow, his shirt damp from effort. "Not much luck," he admitted with a rueful smile. "Might need expert help." Elise nodded, noting his determination. The heat heightened everything. The scent of fresh laundry, his focused energy, their shared challenge. They worked side by side briefly, but soon conceded defeat. "Let's just focus on staying comfortable," Elise suggested with a laugh. In the sweltering room, they shed outer layers for cooler attire, maintaining respect and space. Julian glanced away politely as Elise adjusted her light dress. Standing there, she tossed a light-hearted comment his way. "You know," she said playfully, "there are fun ways to beat this heat, like a dip in the pool." Julian's eyes lit with agreement, the suggestion breaking the tension. With mutual enthusiasm, they headed outside, the pool's cool water beckoning. Settling at the edge, Elise turned to Julian. "Mind helping with the sunscreen?" she asked, holding the bottle. "Wouldn't want a sunburn." Julian nodded warmly. "Happy to assist." Their fingers touched briefly in the handoff, a simple spark of camaraderie. Julian applied the lotion carefully to her shoulders, his touch gentle and considerate, like mapping a treasured landscape. He moved down her arms, creating small, soothing circles, drawing a relaxed sigh from Elise. His focus was on protection, the cream leaving a protective glow on her skin. Elise closed her eyes, enjoying the caring gesture, the world narrowing to this shared act of kindness. As he finished, Elise opened her eyes to his attentive gaze, the air filled with quiet appreciation. Boldly, she placed a hand on his chest, feeling his steady heartbeat. The connection was warm, a bridge to deeper understanding. Julian covered her hand with his, leaning in for a soft, meaningful kiss, a tender meeting that felt like destiny. The mau kiss was gentle, a blend of breaths and emotions, promising more shared moments. Parting, they stood, hands linked, stepping into the pool's refreshing depths. The water enveloped them, allowing free movement as they floated together, conversations flowing easily. Julian's hands rested lightly on her waist, pulling her close, in companionship. Their talks deepened, exploring dreams and laughter, the sun setting in a blaze of colors mirroring their journey. Kisses grew in warmth, building emotional intimacy in this private oasis. Eventually they surfaced, foreheads touching, eyes conveying unspoken bonds. Dripping from the water, Elise led Julian inside, their connection stronger. Upstairs in her room, the dim light created a cozy haven. Julian noticed a sleek gadget on the table, a modern relaxation device. Curiosity piqued, he asked about it. Elise smiled knowingly. "It's for unwinding," she explained. "Want a demo?" Julian agreed eagerly. Elise activated it, the soft hum filling the room. She showed its calming features, guiding it gently, eliciting relaxed sighs. Julian watched, fascinated, learning about her ways of finding peace. The demonstration strengthened their trust. A shared vulnerability. As it ended, Julian joined her, their lips meeting in a heartfelt kiss. Hands explored with care, shedding barriers of distance. They embraced fully, hearts aligning in harmony. Movements synced in a timeless rhythm, building to emotional peaks. In release they lay together, breaths mingling. The room held the essence of their bond, a reminder of shared depth. As twilight fell, they nestled close, tracing patterns on skin, exchanging tender words. "This might need time to process," Elise teased lightly. Julian laughed. "I can wait, a few hours at least."